Saw is a movie released in 2004 starring Carrie Elwes, Lee Wynell, Monica Potter, Tobin Bell, and Danny Glover, and written and directed by James Wan alongside Lee Wynell, who also stars in this movie. Now, just to start off with, I love this film. This is one of my guilty pleasures, not just this one, but the entirety of the Saw series. I can't get enough. I generally just love sitting back and just watching the story unfold. And for me, this one is, I think, the best just because of how shocking the ending is. That ending is, oh, mwah. And what made it even better for me is learning that James Wan and Lee Wynell were working together in film school, and this is the very first movie that they created together, coming out of film school. And oh, what a movie to start off with! It's absolutely superb. And you if you look at James Wan's later movies or later horror movies, you see elements of what he's introduced there make themselves known in this film. And some of the things he does in this film are just absolutely fantastic with regards of that it's the first time they're being sort of implemented. It's really like the first time you see it on screen. Oh, absolutely fantastic. But the story revolves around two men. You have Adam and Dr. Gordon, who both wake up in a deserted bathroom, chained by one ankle to a pipe and seemingly can't get out. What happens is that they're given instructions on a tape recorder to say that essentially they're in a game. Dr. Gordon has until 6 a.m. the next day to shoot uh, shoot Adam and kill him, and he's then released. Otherwise, if he fails to do that, if he fails to complete the game, then his family, his wife and daughter, get killed. And what we have is a series of flashbacks which introduce the Jigsaw Killer, all mainly through the guise or the lens of Dr. Gordon, because he was initially a suspect for being the Jigsaw Killer during the investigation that took place, led by Danny Glover. And the main thing is we start to see previous examples of the traps that Jigsaw has set and when they have gone wrong, when people have died or been killed after failing to complete the game. But then we also see, or we're introduced to Amanda, who survives the game. So you can see that actually the game is winnable. And there's some excellent little bits of foreshadowing in this, and the fact of you have one of the detectives who clearly has worked several of these cases, who's almost like an expert or consultant about these types of cases, who identifies that Jigsaw likes to be able to watch things play out, like to see his games taking place and see how the participants basically take or how they perform in them. So the trap goes on and the movie goes on more and more, and there's more clues that are discovered. The guys ultimately progress through being able to get somewhere nearer towards ending the game. And one of the key turning points is when they discover two hacksaws, and clearly the design of these being implemented in the game is for them to saw off one of their feet, which is shackled, in order to escape. And that there is where you get the sinister, the more sadistic side of it. This movie does rely on the gore element of it. It almost sort of wants you to look away from it because of the amount of gore that's being shown, the amount of blood that's being shown, and the pain, etc. All of that lot. That's where it gets its factor from. You're not turning away because you're scared. You're not turning away because there's a jump scare, albeit there is a couple of jump scares in this. But that's not the reason. It's not a traditional horror movie in that sense. It is a horror gore movie. And it is one that really did inspire a lot of like-minded movies. Some, hopefully, some that I'll also explore in this channel. As the movie goes on, we start to get a few more clues as to who Jigsaw is, and that really is the core of this movie. It is a mystery as to find out who the Jigsaw Killer is. The detective, Danny Glover, has got close to Jigsaw and has lost his partner as a result, but is hell-bent on it being Dr. Gordon. And there are a few things thrown in there that make you start to suspect whether it is actually Dr. Gordon. But the final part happens where the twist is absolutely incredible. And I am going to spoil it. If you haven't seen it in 21 years, I'm sorry. But the twist is absolutely fantastic and perhaps one of the best ones out there. I'm not including Usual Suspects in that. But during the game, what we have are two players, but also a dead body in the middle of them that has in his hands a gun and a tape recorder. So playing a main part of this game. Turns out that dead body isn't dead at all, and that is actually Jigsaw. And I that bit, just that scene of Adam discovering that actually the person they thought who was Jigsaw the whole time isn't Jigsaw, and as he makes that connection there, as he hears that news, you see behind him the actual Jigsaw killer stand up off the floor. And then Adam loses. Dr. Gordon wins it. He managed to escape, but Adam unfortunately loses and he's left in the room to die. And that is the end of the movie. Now, this movie is, I love this movie because of so many different elements. First of all, I love it because of the cinematography and the editing. The sped up moments just showing just the pure despair of every single person in a trap. Them sort of throwing themselves around everywhere, almost like as if they're a fly in a bottle, they're trapped and trying to find a way out but can't. Showing they've got no choice. They've explored everything other than playing the game, and that's the only thing they can do. And it shows, it's something that does come into play a little bit later on in the series, but it does show Jigsaw's intelligence, the fact he thought of every single possible possibility, every single possible outcome that's there. And to a point where he has constructed it that they have to play the game, they have to go along with what he wants them to do. And I do like the acting in this. I mean, in particular, I do like the acting of the two main characters, of Dr. Gordon and Adam. In their their exchanges, they flip between working together and being enemies, working together and being enemies, and it's just that friction that rubs off of the fact that they've just been a high stress situation. They need to work together, but in actual fact, they're not working together because the aim of the game is for one of them to kill the other. So it's just a really complicated dynamic between them, and they play it off superbly. And I love the introduction of a new iconic killer, someone who is just, they have an ideology, they have a reason why they're doing everything, and they also have just, I think something that never really has been seen before: the fact that they just put these people into this position and let them get on with it. It's up to them whether they live or die. He just puts them in this situation, then turns around and says, "Oh, I'm not a killer." Um, that's up for debate, but either way, it's still, it's just a fantastic concept and something completely original as well. And the final flashback does sort of show John Kramer, Jigsaw, who is Dr. Gordon's patient, sort of being that killer the whole way through. Not as hammy as what you'd expect in sort of like other sort of reveals, but it just shows him as actually being that face behind the cowl, the face sort of behind the voice. But the key detail is there's a major plot point in the reason why the police suspect Dr. Gordon so early on is because they find his pen light at one of the scenes. And when you go to the flashback where you see John Kramer lying in the hospital bed while Dr. Gordon is giving his lecture and doing his rounds, you see him holding the pen light. So that's the point where he takes the pen light, and then it also fills in the gap as to why that pen light was there at the scene. And it all just knits in together so well, and I think they thought of every single detail in this. Now, there is one bugbear I've always had about this movie, and that is all of the previous traps. You get Amanda's game that's about 2 minutes long. You have some of the others that have a couple of hours, perhaps 3-4 hours. Why is it that these guys have got about 12 hours? Why is it that these two have so long to play out their game, especially when it's also a pretty simple game. It's just designed for one person to shoot the other. At least that's what I thought when I first watched this movie. Upon rewatching it, what I realised is this game isn't a game for both of them. It is Dr. Gordon's game. It is all centered around him. Adam is just a pawn in it. It's just someone for him to get rid of and play against. But it's all centered around Dr. Gordon. And the beauty of this is that you just see Dr. Gordon break. You see him go from being that guy who doesn't admit to doing anything wrong, having everything, having the wife, the good career, the child, the family life that everyone would be envious of. And you see him come to a realization that he nearly threw it all away to have an affair. And now he's in this situation where he could end up losing them, losing part of himself, to the point where he then just breaks. He can't deal with it anymore. He just has a full breakdown, and you see it take place bit by bit by bit until finally he succumbs and does what the game tells him to do. And then I mean, I'm not going to ruin further down the line, but it does come back, and it is just in perfect keeping with everything that's been built up in this movie, and it's just absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I mean, that's what I love about this film, is that you can watch it again and again and again and find more different things to pick up on, and almost have that sense of a fresh feel of a new movie again each time you watch it. Now, because of all those reasons, and because of how much I love watching this movie and coming back again to watch it, and just always smiling when I pick it up, as horrible as that sounds, I'm going to give this one 4 stars. So that was my review of Saw. Have you guys seen it? What did you guys think about it? If whatever you guys thought, please pop it in the comment section below. As always, thank you very much for watching this video. I will be back with another one shortly, but until then, you guys take it easy, and I'll catch you on the next one.